Hi everyone, I'm Aku Brimstone and welcome to the review of The Eternal Sun, the third record by me, yours truly, Aku Brimstone. Today we're celebrating the 5th anniversary of the record, so I decided to go back and see if it still holds up or not. My story with my own music is pretty simple. Back at the end of 2015, I've bought my first guitar, Schecter 7 Demon, left-handed one, and well, I started to learn how to play on it because I just had an idea to start playing on the guitar, but I had no talent, no skills whatsoever. Started to learn some songs from my favorite childhood bands like Linkin Park, Korn, System of a Down, also Soulfly. I even tried some Death, Symbolic Start at the beginning, but I couldn't play it at all. But after a year, I finally, got a grip on the guitar. I've started writing my own songs, had a ambient-based, music in the style of Silent Hill video games. After that, I was like, I want to play something more metal-oriented, and that's when one of my friends from middle school showed me the Reaper program, which is a free software, digital audio workstation. And well, there he taught me how to basically program the drums. And I was very angry at the time because I hated programming drums. I wanted to learn how to play actual drums, but I just couldn't afford it. So yeah, I was stuck with the programming. And after a while I started writing my own songs. In the middle of 2017, that's when I've stopped creating music by that other project I had, and I've decided to call myself Aku because that's how people in the past would call me at school, etc. So yeah, that was the idea. Nowadays I'm called Aku Brimstone. Anyways, I've started working on some songs. After like 12 months I had like 22 songs, and me and some of my best friends basically chose the best 11 songs on my debut record, Mimic, which was released in August 2018, and well, it had some songs done by me and my friend from the band Dead Eclipse, I think, Christian Polarity, with whom I would throw around an idea for a band already in 2014-13, when I wasn't even a musician back then. I didn't know how to play any instrument. We had some ideas. Some of those ideas are actually on my debut record, like on 4 or 5 songs, I think. After that, I wrote a second record, Inner Magic, which was released a year later in September 2019. That one was more magical, more laid back compared to the first record, which was all over the place. And because I knew it would be all over the place and would use several different subgenres of metal, I called it Mimic because you want to mimic your favorite musicians, your favorite bands. So that was the idea. That's why every song sounds different. And on Inner Magic I wanted to do more magical songs, more laid back, more progressive. That was the idea. After that one, in September 2019, I've got some very bad news at the time, and I was thinking about ending it all, to be quite honest. So I've started writing The Eternal Sun with the thought in mind that this would be my final release, like I would be dead basically after this one. That's why this record was completed in like 5 months or less compared to the previous ones, which I would just take 12 to 13 months to, perfect the record. This one was done more faster. At the same time as I was working on The Eternal Sun, me and Alex worked on the final Lord Kutanoid release called Gothenburg, which was released in January 2020. Both of them were finished and I am proud of them, spoiler. So yeah, everything here was done by me. The cover art, on the other hand, this is a placeholder cover art. It's from the manga Black Clover. At the time I was supposed to get an artist and we've talked about it. Then his rates got, bigger for some reason. I was like, I cannot afford you, dude. So the placeholder basically is the cover art because I didn't get the the final one, the one I wanted to make, which was more personal, I would say. It's also funny to review your own music because I am my own worst critic, so this is going to be fun. If you want, you can listen to this record on my Bandcamp page or even buy it, support it. Yeah, so it's here, links in the description. Now let's move on with the review. The production is raw. The entire work on this record was handled by me, so music, recording, writing, producing. The production isn't that great. As the years passed, I would get better at the production. At the time, it was the best one I could make, so it sounds better compared to my previous solo records, but it's still not that great. I do enjoy listening to it, especially since, you know, the production was like free. I used free plugins, like the budget for this thing was basically non-existent, and it still sounds better than some of the records from well-known bands that I listen to. So it's kinda weird. I get so angry when an established band who's like, you know, I would say rich. If you earn above minimum wage, to me, you're basically rich. So I get angry when they release records that sound like crap, because even I could have done a better job for free. And I know that because this record, The Eternal Sun, exists and had no budget. So yeah, the production is raw, but you can hear every instrument perfectly, you know, the guitars, the bass. We've got like guitar on the left, on the right side, but also we have the guitars playing some weird melodies below that, so the entire mix seems more alive, I would say. That's what I'm always doing up to this day when I'm recording music, to just keep some layers of the guitars below to make the louder ones seem more crisp, etc. Message is diverse. This is basically a concept record where I talk about hardships of life, but also I want to focus on things that I hold close to my heart. So basically my favorite media, video games, anime, TV shows, etc. The story of the recording behind this record was pretty simple. I've started in the middle of September. I've had like 2 songs, then 4. Then in November there was a tragedy because one of my friends said that basically gave me a new graphic card, but it wasn't a new one. He was basically tinkering in it, and it basically backfired and it damaged my PC. So I've lost all of my files except 6 songs that I wrote and already recorded for The Eternal Sun. So I was actually quite pissed off at the time because I already knew my life was going to shit, but with this one I was even more angry. Then I resumed the work on this one in December. And as I was getting closer to the release date, because I already knew that the record would be out on 20 February 2020. Palindrome is basically a date that you read the same way backwards and forwards. So this is like half palindrome, because in Europe it's 20/02/20. I know that in USA you look at the dates a different way, but that's not how I look at them, so to me it's 20/02/20, it's like half palindrome. As I was finishing the record, I already knew that I wasn't happy. I was feeling very, you know, depressed and anxiety induced, and I wanted to basically end it all, and that was the idea, to game end myself on the release date. But at the release date, as the record came out, my friends actually surprised me, so they came to my home unannounced as I was preparing to do the deed, so to speak. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm basically alive to this day, because they've came by, they've heard the record, they've enjoyed it so much. We've talked, we've had some adventures. So yeah, we've spent like an entire 2 days because of that date. So that's the entire story. Structure of the songs is between advanced, technical and progressive. There are no basic structures on the record, so to explain it as fast as I can, progressive structure is where nothing ever repeats, the song just flows, it's a journey. Technical structure is where the song has from 5 to 10 unique segments. and only like 1 or 2 repeat in the entire song. An advanced structure is very similar to the basic pop structure of intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro, but it adds more variety into the mix, where you basically, maybe after the first verse and pre-chorus, you have a new section that only happens once, and then you get verse 2, pre-chorus, which is completely different from the previous pre-chorus, then a new segment again, then the chorus. So yeah, it's like a basic structure, but you put more stuff on top, more things in between. So the idea behind this record was to write songs that I would enjoy the most, and I don't like tracks with basic structure. I mean, I do enjoy them when it's nu metal music or something like that, because you can sing along to songs like Linkin Park Paper Cut, for example, but I enjoy listening to more technical death metal stuff, like Decrepit Birth, for example, where the song is more progressive, I would say, and there are just many changes, and every change is a welcome one, because they just bring better and better melodies and ideas to the song, and it's like a never-ending flow of interesting things. So that's how it always looked to me. Now let's talk about the music genres on this record. So The Eternal Sun is like a mix of progressive metal, nu metal, and death metal. That's it. No groove metal, nothing along those lines, no metalcore. That was also very important to me at the time, to not add any breakdowns or something like that. There are breakdowns in the songs, but in a nu metal way, like on the first Korn record, or the first Slipknot record, the first System of a Down record, not in a, Kill Switch Engage or Bullet for My Valentine way. Nope. So that was like my idea behind it, to make a record that is more focused about things I enjoy listening to. And the main inspiration behind The Eternal Sun musically were the record's Symbolic and the Sound of Perseverance from Death, Korn's first record, Soulfly's Primitive and Prophecy, and also Dry Q's Logic, The Darkest Side of Nonsense, Nothing Face Skeletons. So a lot of death metal and nu metal stuff. Also, how could I forget Decrepit Birth's Diminishing Between Worlds? That was also something that always inspires me to write more music. So to repeat myself, The Eternal Sun is a mix of prog metal, nu metal, and death metal. It also features some heavy metal and thrash metal influences, but those are very hard to catch. Some of the riffs have that vibe, but most of it is what I said. Now let's talk about the musicianship on this record. Let's start with the drums. The drums are programmed, so no real human here. And well, some of the drum parts are actually, I don't think that anyone could play them. Like for example in the song Kanata No Astra or You're Not Welcome Here, I've programmed some beats that are not possible to play by one person. You need like 2 to 3 persons to do that stuff. The drumming is mostly okay. I wrote and programmed the parts to like elevate the guitar work, especially. Now let's talk about the bass. It's here, it's not that audible actually, it depends on the song. The reason for that is very simple. I don't own a bass guitar, so all of the bass lines on this record are actually guitar lines, just changed slightly with a bass preset, so it like mimics the bass, and the bass line basically follows the guitar one, but in some songs, like for example Night Springs, it deviates from that stuff. This is something not common in nu metal music, because usually the bass lines are up front and the bassist always plays something very different from the guitarist. The reason why it's different here is because I don't own a bass guitar, and also I couldn't make the production work with the bass up front. If I lived in a perfect world, I would have money and I would do the production the way I wanted, so I would record a different bass lines, different ideas for the bass compared to what is present on my solo records, because I usually just make the bass follow the guitars, even if I would want to do something else, you know, something more interesting, but that would require a producer who knows what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing, so that's the truth. Now let's rate the individual tracks. The album opens up with Night Springs. This was the first song written for the record back in September 2019. It's based on the video game Alan Wake, which I was basically going through as I was recording this record. I was playing the game and was like, this game is amazing. I finished the game. Then I went through Alan Wake American Nightmare, which I've also enjoyed. And in those games, there's this cool fictional TV show called Night Springs, which talks about like very weird things happening. And I was like, this is amazing. I love the atmosphere of those sections. I've actually enjoyed watching those Night Springs clips more than playing the game, to be quite honest. So I've had to make a song about it, and I wanted to make this song like creepy but also nostalgic at the same time. So the song opens up with a sample from the game, Night Springs, and then we get a weird nu metal guitar riff, some bass lines as well, boom 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 boom, then a heavy break, and then the main melody happens, I love that melody, that's why it's so prominent in the song. It changes the tempo all the time, like it gets faster and faster. After that we get another fast break, and at the end we get a cool bridge part with a more hard rock melody, and that melody has a funny history because it's from 2016. From one of my ambient songs called Mika. I wanted to bring back that melody because I felt like it wasn't utilized properly. To be quite honest, I feel that this song is a mess, it's chaos, the structure does not work that well, segments do not connect correctly, that's just my opinion. I've only put this song on the record because I have this weird philosophy where I want to start the album with the least interesting song possible. Like, it's weird, it's supposed to be off-putting, so you really need to dig deep and like do a deep dive in the record. The same thing happened on the previous records and on the next ones, where the opening tracks are not the best songs on the entire thing, like hell no, because I always love to listen to full albums to discover those hidden gems that the band would put in the middle or at the end, you know, songs that you don't think about most of the time. And yeah, that's the philosophy I've brought into this record, which of course works not in favor of it, because people usually, nowadays especially, they don't have time or they don't have will to do that, to just immerse themselves for 40 minutes or so. So yeah, Night Springs was a bad idea to open up the record. It's not the best song here. It's actually the third worst one, I would say. And I wouldn't put it on the record if I was releasing it today. But I still do enjoy it. I think it's a great song because I love the melodies in the middle and the outro. The weird evil sounding intro to Doom is also great. Just some of the segments do not connect well, and that's what really bothers me. 8 out of 10. You're Not Welcome Here. This is one of the heavier songs on the record. It's inspired by real life. You know, those people that you hate basically, who always torment you, who make your life a living hell. It might be your brother or father or mother or whoever you want. But yeah, it happens. So to me this one is about my father and my brother. The sample at the beginning is from the TV show Doom Patrol. I don't remember which season, but I do remember which scene, and it's heartbreaking. You need to watch that show. The song, on the other hand, is one of my favorite tracks I've ever wrote because of how furious and angry it sounds like. The opening melody, and then we get the pre-chorus and chorus. I love that melody so much. It's catchy, it's straight to the point. After that we get some death metal riffs in the middle, and then that cool, I don't know, breakbeat section with that one that has the drums that are not supposed to be played by one person. So I love that as well. After that we get like return to the action, so the same thing that happened before, but this time there's a guitar solo on top. So that's like a technique some songwriters use to make the song have a different feeling, while they are still reusing ideas that were already in the song. This one would fit something like Need for Speed or Carmageddon, some racing game, because it's so fast, like the beat never slows down. It's a heavy banger. That's what I'm trying to say here. 11 out of 10. I can't rely on anyone. This song is very sad. Basically the title says everything it's supposed to say. That's how I was feeling at the time. Sometimes it's how I feel even today. This track is also a mess because the structure is so technical. Like there's only one moment that repeats in the entire song, and that's that very smooth and laid back melody. Tum 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 tum. Everything else, it's a journey, I would say. While the previous song was more nu metal influenced, this one has a lot of thrashy and deathy riffs, and also some more groovy, I would say. I enjoy the sample in the laid back part because it's from the TV show Broadchurch, the original version, not the American remake, which has like 3 seasons. I love that sample, that quote, because it's the truth, and I do enjoy this song a lot, but the second part of the song, which is more groove metal oriented, not a big fan of it nowadays. But you can listen to it and build your own opinion on that. The first 2 minutes of the song go hard to me, they're quite interesting. The segments do connect correctly, so you don't have that feeling that something is out of place. The last minute, well, it's just not for me, but people who enjoy those kinds of riffs nowadays, they're going to love it. 9 out of 10. Teetotalism. This is one of the singles. All I know is that this song was already finished before Cedet destroyed my PC in November 2019. And Teetotalism is basically about my way of life, which is I am straight edge, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I am not interested in sex without romantic love, all of that stuff. So that's who I am, and that's what I wanted the song to convey. I sound like this song. To this day, I feel like this is my favorite Aku song. I love to play it live, and I just love the fact that the drum part is actually like a 5 or 6 second loop. I am giving the song so much interesting riffs and ideas and guitar solos that it never becomes stale or boring. It's actually quite interesting. I am so proud of this one. The opening melody, and then that's in the middle of the song, and that whole melody basically became a tradition in my solo discography, where on every next EP and full-length studio record I put this melody in one of the songs, like at least for 5 to 10 seconds, as an Easter egg. If you're going ever to listen to my entire discography, you might hear this melody, that in other songs that I've recorded later, because I just like to go back to that melody. It's one of my favorites that I've ever wrote, even if it's not that technical or hard to play. I just love how heavy and cool it sounds like. I love that riff so much, and the entire song is a journey, it's a banger. I love that the structure is technical, even when the beat is a 5 to 7 second loop. I love all of the guitar solos in this song that happen in the second part of the track. All of that stuff. Yeah, you have to listen to this one. I hope that you're going to enjoy it, because to this day I still do 12 out of 10. Bloom Doom. This song was actually inspired by the cartoon Winx Club and the video game Doom, because one of the characters in Winx Club is called Bloom. And I was like, Bloom, Bloom Doom, haha, haha. That was the idea. It's Doom and Bloom, you know. It's Winx Club and Doom. We need to see that crossover. I must say that to this day I do enjoy this song. At the time I was very proud of it, but nowadays not so much, because like it doesn't have any meaning except that, oh, it's Winx Club and Doom, you know. So the previous songs had some interesting, you know, ideas behind them, and some meaning, like Teetotalism, like it's about the straight edge way of life. I can rely on anyone. It's like you're alone, you cannot rely on your family or your friends, no one cares about you, you're not welcome here. There are people who want to destroy you, to destroy your way of life, and you're not going to let them. And Night Springs is about Alan Wake and the video games and how fun they are. And now it's Bloom Doom. It's Bloom Doom. And also this song is hilarious because it rips off that melody from Teetotalism. So it's right after Teetotalism, and it has that melody for like 3 to 5 seconds, and it's always so funny to me. But I do enjoy it. The most cool part is the breakdown in the middle, because it's a nu metal breakdown. It's not metalcore breakdown like it reminds me of that old school Soulfly stuff, you know, from the first record. Also, all of the guitar solos and lead guitar work is again fantastic. I am proud of it. But I feel like the best part of the song, that nu metal breakdown, is like too long. Like it should be shorter, by like 20 to 30 seconds. It drags the song down for me. I feel like I've made a mistake to make the breakdown so long. That's just my opinion. As I said before, I am my own worst critic. Like, people who've heard The Eternal Sun so far, they love this record. I haven't heard almost no negative words about this one, except one of the tracks, which we are going to talk about soon. 9 out of 10. Montiville. Now this is a song I wrote for my best friend. It's one of my least favorite ones here, because this song is not for me. It was written specifically for him and his music tastes. So the intro is very similar to the band Tool, because he's a massive Tool fan. After that we have that cool nu metalish guitar riff, and there are very corny melodies in the background as that happens, because he loves the first 6 Korn records. And after all of that happens, we get some proggy stuff, because he's also into that. And after that we have a breakdown, but the build-up is actually a sample from the GTA San Andreas video game, because it's his all-time favorite video game. Like CJ says, oh shit, here we go again, and the breakdowns like drops, doom 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 doom. So that's the entire song, and after that the outro is yet again very 90s nu metal influenced. The entire song sounds like a mix of nu metal and prog metal. I remember that the first demo version did not have some of the nu metal melodies in the background, and I had to write and add them, because I felt like the song wasn't enough nu metal sounding, because I wanted to make a song that he would love, you know, because he's my best friend, and it works. The idea behind the song title came because when my other friend Zero, we would play the game Sims. So we played Sims 2, and we've called the town Montiville. Like, we would just build the weirdest stuff there, you know, weirdest families. You know how Sims works, right? So yeah, that was the idea. The structure is also progressive, it's interesting, nothing ever repeats, not even once. That was the first time I wrote a song because I wanted someone else to be happy. And the mission was successful, he loves the song, and I'm happy about it. I've created something that is important to someone else. To me, not so much. I think that the song is good, don't get me wrong, but if it were up to me, this is going to sound very negative, I wouldn't put it on the record, but it's here, it's not that long, and it's fun. Also, the CJ sample is funny as hell. 8 out of 10. Begin Fiend, this is one of my all-time favorite songs that I wrote as well. It's like a prequel, but also sequel to my first single called End Friend from my debut record Mimic. So the idea here was to go back to End Friend because I've released End Friend as a single on the 1st January 2018 and the song became a slight success. Like, I even remember someone illegally downloaded this song and like burned it on a CD and like sent me video of listening to it in his car. That was when I first felt like I've made it, because someone enjoyed the song so much that they've decided to steal it like by a YouTube downloader or some shit and like burn it on a CD and listen to it in a car in like some other country. And I was like, that's great. If you enjoy the song so much, if it means so much to you that you're willing to do so many things to get it, then I respect that. I respect that. End Friend is a nu metal song. It's not progressive metal, it's not death metal. It's a straight up nu metal song with a basic structure of intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. It was inspired by my favorite nu metal songs from the 90s. As I was basically writing The Eternal Sun, one of my friends said it. He said like, yeah, End Friend, it's your best song. Why wouldn't you make another song like that, you know? Because people enjoy it. Give people what they want. And I was like, I don't know. As the time was passing me by, it was already the end of January 2020. I finally had an idea how to create a prequel, but also a sequel, in a way that it would make the songs more interesting and the meaning, but also both of the songs would be actually great on their own. So the idea is here to basically make an Ouroboros. Ouroboros is something that does not end, because you can listen to these songs in two ways. Chronologically, so End Friend, because it was released first, and 3 years later it's Begin Fiend. But what if you're going to listen to Begin Fiend first, and then you're going to listen to End Friend? It changes the entire narration and the story, because chronologically, this is a very negative sounding song, because End Friend, your friend basically betrays you, he stabs you in the back, and that goes to Begin Fiend, so you're basically enemies for life, and it's unpleasant feeling. But if you're going to listen to the songs from Begin Fiend to End Friend, it's basically a tale about enemies who become friends. Begin Fiend, you've started out as fiends, but you end up as friends. So that was the idea, to make the song like have those two different meanings, and they're Ouroboroses. You can listen to them on and on and on. They never end. And as End Friend is a nu metal song, I wanted Begin Fiend to also be a nu metal song, but to also have a guitar solo. End Friend did not have one, and also this one has some Japanese vibe to it, because I've used some weird presets on the guitar to make it sound like those old Asian instruments. I forgot their names, sorry for that. So yeah, Begin Fiend has a very cool intro, tum 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 tum, and that's actually a melody from End Friend, just played differently. And then we get the verses, tum 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 tum. It's the same melody yet again, and then after that the melody changes into tum 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 tum, and that melody is the pre-chorus and chorus from End Friend, but it's played here differently, but it's also the pre-chorus and chorus here. So that's something that you might not even get or hear on the first listen, because the tempo and the way how the melody is played is slightly different, but it's the same thing. I wanted the songs to be connected by those very same melodies in the same spots, but the bridges are completely different, because the bridge in Anthem was like dum 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 dum, but the bridge here is more alive, it's more heavy, it's like dum 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 dum. So it has a guitar solo. I love that. I love this song so much. I am so happy that Begin Fiend is on the same level as Endfriend. Like, this is so rare in music, movies, video games, etc. When a sequel or a prequel is on the same level as the original, it almost never happens. So check out this song, you won't be disappointed. I am so happy that it exists. 11 out of 10. Kanata no Astra is a song that was inspired by an anime of the same name. At the time of recording this album, I was watching Kanata no Astra, and it left such a big impression on me that I had to make a song about it. And I must say that I love this song. I love the weird industrial intro with the weird drums that I've made. Then the guitars become more and more weird, you know, with that melody. Wah, 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 wah. Then the build up happens to more explosive melodies. So that's the pre-chorus, and after it the chorus happens, which is like do 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 do. Do 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 dum do 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 dum do 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 dum dum do 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 dum do 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 dum do 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 dum do 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 dum dum. So I love that part so much. I was very surprised to find out that this song is hated by my fanbase. Like, no one likes this song. Even my friends say that the song is like 4 out of 10 to them. And I don't know why, because I love it. Like, that sometimes happens, like the song you don't care about that you wrote becomes a hit, like everyone loves it, but the song that is so important to me and I love listening to it, like no one cares about it. And that's Kanata no Astra. I love the first guitar solo in this song, that it was inspired by Rob Arnold, the guitarist of Chimera, especially the second record from them, The Impossibility of Reason. It also has a sample from the anime at the beginning, like the main character says something along those lines that you need to run. This song is a misunderstood gem. This one has more of a nu metalish vibe to it, I would say. Some of the melodies remind me of old school Deftones, some of Chimera. Yeah, it's a great track, very fun to listen to. 11 out of 10. Anger is a Gift is a song about the destructive power of hatred and anger, because I've been using anger most of my life as a motivation, a call to action, so to speak. So whenever I'm angry or I feel so much hatred, I'm like, if I'm not going to do something about it, it's going to destroy me inside. So you need to channel those negative emotions to like create music, create something. Because if you're not going to do that, you're going to explode inside, or worse, you're going to hurt someone else, you're going to hurt them. So that's Anger is a Gift. The song title comes from the track Rage Against the Machine Freedom, and also the sample at the beginning is from the same song, where Zack says those words. The song is very heavy at the beginning, like doom 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 wow wow doom 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 wow wow. Then the nu metal breakdown happens. After that, we get more introspective verses that slightly remind me of Death's Symbolic record, just slightly. After that, we go back to some heavier stuff, then a guitar solo, then some changes. I feel like this is not a perfect song, it needed more polish, but it's fun. it's what it is. This is a great song with an interesting meaning, but to me it's not as good as the previous two songs. 9 out of 10. Morituri Te Salutant, those going to die salute you, Caesar, something like that. I wrote this song because I was playing too much Age of Empires and Rise of Nations while recording the Eternal Sun. That was the main reason. So yet again, the previous song, as a gift, is a hard topic, you know, it's an interesting tale of anger. And now it's Morituri Te Salutant. Yeah, there are soldiers going to war because Caesar said so. Aku wrote a song because he played Age of Empires and Rise of Nations. Also Rise and Fall. How could I forget about that game? It was perfect. So yeah, Morituri Te Salutant is one of the singles. I love the melodies here. It's a very prog metal sounding song with lots of slight nu metal vibes thrown in the background. The tempo is march-like to basically showcase how an army would move. It's like tum, 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 tum. They're like marching to this song. That's what I wanted to achieve, but the tempo changes like at the end of the song to showcase that the battle basically started. So that was the idea behind this one. I love the guitar solos, the lead guitar work in the second part of the song. The structure here is more advanced, where I didn't use lots of changes. It was like intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, change, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, change, outro. That was basically it. I dig this song a lot. I think it's perfect. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. It's a fun listen. 10 out of 10. Equivalent Exchange was inspired by one of my all-time favorite animes, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The song's title is actually about alchemist philosophy, where to gain something you need to lose something of the same value. It has a sample from the show. At the time, because I was thinking that I would game end myself in February, I've decided to like rewatch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which took me like 3 days. So if you know how long is Brotherhood, then you already know that I didn't sleep like at all in those 3 days, because it's like 64 episodes, I think, 20 minutes each. So yeah, I didn't sleep a lot back then. I was like, I need to watch this one before I die, and I've watched it. And as I was watching it yet again, it's like I need to write a song about it because I love it. And that's Equivalent Exchange. I wanted to bring the vibe that was more introspective and emotional, because that's how the anime feels to me. And I must say that I've done a great job, because this is one of the singles. It wasn't that much short, like it didn't become a success, but I was still happy about it. I think I've released it on the 3rd October 2019, because that's the date that the main characters burned their house down. Equivalent Exchange, very emotional sounding song, very introspective, very nostalgic for some reason. The melodies remind me a lot of Death's The Sound of Perseverance, but also Mark Rizzo, the former guitarist of Soulfly, and slight nu metal edge as well. Yeah, it's a perfect song. I have nothing else to add. I love listening to it even to this day. 11 out of 10. Our Ocean Digital. This song was called different in September 2019 because it was the second song written after Night Springs. So Night Springs and then this one. It was first called Are We Real, but I didn't enjoy the title, so I've changed it. It was inspired by my all-time favorite movie, The Matrix, but I must say that I feel like it shouldn't be on the record. It's too long, there are too many repetitions, which is hilarious because the structure is technical. Like, there are so many changes in the middle, but for some reason the main melody from the beginning, like the first 90 seconds, are copy-pasted at the end. I don't know why actually. I didn't want to have any B-sides because I thought that was my last album, so I wanted to release everything I've came up with. For me, I feel like I've let myself down with this song. Some of the melodies do not sound great, some of the segments do not connect well, and the song is too long, like it should be shorter by a minute or two. And I feel like some of the melodies, while they are fun to listen to, they would need more polish and more work, especially some of the segments feel a little bit hollow. And overall, this is just a decent song. I don't hate it, I never skip it as I listen to this record, because I do enjoy listening to it, because I wrote this entire album for myself, so I like to listen to it even today. But yeah, this song should not have been here. If I was supposed to make a perfect record, this song would not be on it. Let's just blame the machines. Let's blame the machines. Let's blame Agent Smith, that he infected me. And that's why our Ocean Digital sounds like it sounds like. So yeah, 6 out of 10. Ainulindalë is my 7th favorite song on this record. It was inspired by Tolkien's Lord of the Rings universe. Ainulindalë is basically how the world of Tolkien came to be. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go read the book, Silmarillion, all of the unfinished tales. It's all quite interesting. I love Lord of the Rings so much. The amount of times I've read through the books and watched the extended versions of the movies is like, I cannot even count that. Probably around 100 times or more. It's like one of the best tales in the world, and I just love it so much, so I had to make a song about it. I've already did one song called Dagor Dagorath. It's on Mimic, it's the second track there. Dagor Dagorath is how everything in the Tolkien universe is going to end, and Ainulindalë is how basically it begins. Love this song. I enjoy the fact that this one was more inspired by Gojira's The Way of All Flesh record. It has that tapping technique on the guitar in the middle of the song. I enjoy the nu metal intro because it's very nostalgic sounding. The guitar riffs slap, some of them have a slight heavy metal vibe to them, but it's still a prog metal song with lots of new influences. There isn't anything I don't enjoy on this one. It's a vibe, it's a mood, it's great. 10 out of 10. And the album ends with the title track, The Eternal Sun. This one is the longest song on the record. It's also one of the more interesting ones, structure-wise. It opens up really heavy, with some guitar riffs that are reminiscent of Chuck Schuldiner style. After that, we get that weird guitar effect that was featured on Begin Fiend, the Japanese one. Tum 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 tum. And the nu metalish groovy part starts. Tum 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 tum. I love that a lot. After that, we get a sample from Avatar: The Last Airbender, where that giant turtle basically tells you that the darkness in the void yields to purifying light, something along those lines. And I love how it all sounds like. You're going to laugh, but the idea to put the sample in the song came even before I wrote the song. I just wanted to use that sample, and as I was finishing the track, I've noticed that one part was not connecting well, that beginning basically after that tum 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 tum. So to connect those parts, I basically put the sample there, because it fits the song, it fits the idea behind the record, because the idea is that the eternal sun, the sun is not eternal. That's a lie. The sun will die someday. We're not going to see it because all of us are going to be dead. But the sun will die too. It will end because everything ends. So there's like a very sarcastic idea behind the title of the record and this song, that the sun is eternal for us, but not for the universe. Was the eternal sun friends we made along the way? I am not sure. But yeah, the idea was that the eternal sun, it's a lie, because the sun is not eternal, and the life is hard, and then we die. So it's like a negative sounding title and song, but there's still hope that life might happen, that we might survive. But at the time, as I was finishing this record, I did not see it, and I wanted to opt for more negative resonance at the end. I will be gone, but the sun will still shine, even when I'm not here. So that's the Eternal Sun. Very interesting song. I love the heavier parts, the bow, wow, wow, the bendy stuff that happens here. The cool guitar solo, do. It has slight classical heavy metal vibe to it. Before the 4th minute, the metal stuff ends and we get a more ambient music in the background. That was actually composed by Alex Black of Lord Kutanoid, because this song was being written as we were writing the final Kutanoid album, Gothenburg. So I've asked him to make me an outro that I would put and infuse it with the title song that would have more of a depressive vibe, but also very magical, I would say. That's the only guest that is here on this album. He also provided the blech sound on Montiville, because Monty loves blech, so he has blech on Montiville, because I was thinking about doing blech, but my blech is not as heavy as blech of Alex Black from Kutanoid. So that was the idea. The Eternal Sun, yeah, to me it's a perfect song. I love listening to it. It's a great end to this record. 10 out of 10. To sum it all up, the consistency is stable, the flow is fitting, repeatability. Yeah, it's an excellent record. I enjoyed it from beginning to the end. If it were up to me now, I would change the track list. I would remove Night Springs, Montiville and Our Ocean Digital, so there would be just 11 songs on the record. I would open up the entire thing with Teetotalism. Even if the drums repeat all the time, I feel like that song would work well as an opener. I am still proud of what I've done here. I have lots of nostalgia towards this record. If I didn't write and record it, I wouldn't be here today. I feel like I owe my life because of the Eternal Sun. It's important to me. That's why I wanted to make this review. And also because it would be funny to review something that you've made and like shit on some of the songs, like Our Ocean Digital, which I am not happy about. The highlights of it are Teetotalism, You're Not Welcome Here, Begin Fiend, Kanata No Astra, Equivalent Exchange, Ainulindalë, and The Eternal Sun. That's what you should check out. Yeah, also I feel like this record is a little bit too long. It's the longest Jim Aku Brimstone album so far. And even if I would cut out those 3 songs I've mentioned before, Night Springs, Montiville and Our Ocean Digital, it would still remain the longest album, because it's so long. If you enjoyed the review, give it a like, subscribe, follow me on my Instagram, links in the description, write down in the comments if you've listened to this record or not. If you didn't, go check it out, links in the description for the Bandcamp page where you can listen to it in its entirety. You can also buy it if you want to support me. That would be really cool. You could download the entire thing. If you're a YouTuber or you're creating video games, you can leave me a message here or on Instagram. I would love to, license some of these songs for video games, because I feel like they have promise and also vibe to be featured in a video game, like You're Not Welcome Here or Anger is a Gift, Equivalent Exchange. All of these songs could be a part of some video game. If you also want to support me in a different way, join my Patreon page. Shout out to all of the Patreon members who gracefully sponsor these videos, so I can survive and not starve to death. Thank you, you're all truly wonderful. That's all from me. See you next time. Bye.